The boardroom shattered like fragile glass under Harmony's heel, her stiletto piercing the photo of her and Kira mid-laugh, shards scattering across the mahogany table as if her empire had finally cracked. "You think you can walk away from this? From me?" she snarled, voice a venomous whisper that echoed off the high ceilings of her Barcelona penthouse office, her green eyes blazing with a fury she'd never unleashed before. But in that instant, as Kira's tear-streaked face crumpled, Harmony felt it, the alpha in her soul, not the predator closing deals, but the protector who'd die to shield the one woman who'd ever made her feel alive. Harmony Reyes had built her life on control, a fortress of steel and silence in the heart of Barcelona's bustling financial district. At 35, she was the unchallenged CEO of Reyes Global, a tech conglomerate that spanned continents, her name synonymous with ruthless efficiency and unyielding ambition. Born to Mexican immigrant parents who'd scraped by in California's Central Valley before fleeing to Spain for a fresh start, Harmony had clawed her way up from a cramped apartment in El Raval to this glass-walled empire overlooking the Mediterranean. She was the woman who fired executives over lukewarm coffee, who negotiated billion-euro mergers with a smile that could freeze lava, and who never, ever, let emotion breach her armor. Her colleagues called her La Jefa Fría, the cold boss, a title she wore like a crown of thorns she pretended didn't prick. But beneath the tailored Armani suits and the perpetual scowl, Harmony harbored a secret wildfire, her alpha instincts, a primal pull she'd buried deep since her college days in Madrid, where a fleeting romance with a fellow student had left her shattered and swearing off vulnerability. She channeled it into dominance at work, into the thrill of outmaneuvering rivals, but never into love. Love was a liability, a glitch in the code. Until Kira Voss had washed into Harmony's world like a rogue wave from the Costa Brava, uninvited and unstoppable. At 32, she was an American expat painter from Brooklyn, with roots tracing back to a Spanish grandmother who'd whispered tales of flamenco and forbidden passions over kitchen tables laden with paella. Kira had come to Barcelona 2 years ago on a whim, chasing the light that danced on gaudiest mosaics, her canvases alive with the vibrant chaos of the city, saffron sunsets bleeding into indigo nights, the raw pulse of La Rambla. She was all curves and contradictions, olive skin glowing under the sun, auburn curls that defied any brush, and brown eyes that held the depth of ancient olive groves, wise beyond her years yet playful as a street cat. Where Harmony compressed the world into spreadsheets, Kira exploded it onto canvas, her art gallery in the Gothic Quarter a haven for dreamers and misfits. They met at a charity gala for emerging artists, Harmony there under duress, her publicist insisting it humanized the Ice Queen. Kira, the evening's featured painter, had spilled a glass of Rioja on Harmony's crisp white blouse during a clumsy toast. "Oh God, I'm so sorry, here, let me," Kira had stammered, dabbing at the stain with a napkin, her touch lingering just a beat too long, sending an electric jolt through Harmony's veins. For the first time in years, the CEO felt exposed, not by the red wine, but by those warm, unapologetic eyes. "It's just a shirt," Harmony had replied coolly, but her voice cracked, betraying the alpha stirring she'd long suppressed, the urge to pull this vibrant stranger close, to claim her in a way that had nothing to do with boardrooms. What began as polite emails about sponsoring Kira's next exhibit spiraled into stolen afternoons in hidden tapas bars off Passeig de Gracia, where the air hummed with the sizzle of gambas al ajillo and the low strum of a guitarist in the corner. Harmony, who dined on power lunches and kale smoothies, found herself devouring patatas bravas with her fingers, laughing, actually laughing, at Kira's tales of botched gallery openings and midnight swims in the sea. Kira saw through the facade, teasing Harmony's rigid posture until it softened, coaxing stories from her about childhood summers in Valencia, picking oranges under a relentless sun with her abuelita. "You're not cold, mi amor," Kira whispered one evening as they wandered the labyrinthine alleys of Barri Gothic, the moon silvering the stone walls. "You're just waiting for someone brave enough to thaw you." Their romance bloomed in quiet defiance of Harmony's world. Late nights in Kira's loft studio, surrounded by half-finished oils reeking of turpentine, Harmony would shed her suit jacket and trace the curve of Kira's shoulder with tentative fingers, her alpha side emerging not in commands, but in fierce protectiveness, fetching herbal tea when Kira's hands cramped from painting, or glaring down a pushy collector who undervalued her work. Kira, in turn, taught Harmony to dance the sardana in Placa de Catalunya, their palms pressing together in a circle of strangers, bodies swaying to the rhythm of Catalan folk tunes. It was messy, passionate, real, a far cry from the sterile mergers of Harmony's days. For the first time, the CEO felt her heart beat not for profit margins, but for the woman who painted sunrises on her skin with lazy kisses under the duvet. Yet shadows loomed. Harmony's empire was fracturing under the weight of a hostile takeover bid from Victor Lang, a slick British financier with a shark's grin and a vendetta born from a deal she'd crushed years ago. Lang's whispers poisoned the boardroom. Rumors of Harmony's distractions, leaked photos from paparazzi snapping her and Kira at a seaside cafe in Sitges. Personal entanglements weakened the firm, he'd sneer in private emails, his words slithering into the ears of wavering executives. Harmony doubled down, her cold-blooded facade hardening into ice, snapping at assistants and canceling dinners with Kira under the guise of crises. But the alpha in her raged, a beast clawing to defend her territory, her love, even as doubt crept in. Was Kira a weakness, or the strength she'd never known? The first crack came subtly, a betrayal masked as ambition. Elena, Harmony's longtime executive assistant and confidant, a sharp-witted Spaniard in her 40s with a no-nonsense bob and loyalty forged in late-night mergers, had been pilfering documents. Not for Lang, but for her own startup dream, siphoning client data to launch a rival app. Harmony discovered it during a routine audit, her stomach twisting as she stared at the encrypted files on her screen, Elena's login stamped like a Judas kiss. How could you? Harmony confronted her in the dim glow of the server room, voice a low growl that echoed off humming racks. Elena's eyes, usually steely, darted away. You taught me everything, Harmony. Survival of the fittest, your words. I just needed a way out. The betrayal stung deeper than business. Elena had known about Kira, had even teased her over coffee about finally finding your fire. Firing her was mechanical, a severance package and a non-disclosure, but inside, Harmony's alpha instincts howled, transforming grief into a feral need to control every variable. She pulled away from Kira, burying herself in war rooms, her texts growing curt, late again. Rain check. Kira, sensing the chill, confronted her one stormy evening in the penthouse, rain lashing the floor-to-ceiling windows like accusations. You're shutting me out, Harm. What's really going on? Is it us? Am I too much? Harmony paced the Persian rug, fists balled, the city lights blurring into streaks below. It's nothing you did. This world, it devours weakness. I can't afford to lose focus. But as Kira stepped closer, her hand on Harmony's arm a lifeline, the CEO cracked. Elena betrayed me. Stole everything I built. And now Lang's circling, waiting for me to slip. If I let you in too deep. Her voice broke, the alpha yielding to raw fear. Kira pulled her into an embrace, murmuring against her neck, love isn't a slip, Carino. It's the only thing that doesn't break. For a fragile interlude, they rebuilt. Weekends in the Pyrenees, hiking mist-shrouded trails where wild horses grazed, Harmony shedding her armor to race Kira through meadows of wild thyme, their laughter echoing off granite peaks. Kira sketched Harmony's profile against the snow-capped mountains, capturing the vulnerability in her eyes, the woman beneath the mogul. See? Your poetry, Kira said, pressing the drawing into her hands. Harmony, heart swelling, vowed silently to fight for this, to let her instincts guide her not to conquer, but to cherish. But Lang struck harder. He unearthed dirt, not on Harmony, but on Kira's past, a youthful indiscretion in New York, a forged signature on a gallery contract that had nearly landed her in court, hushed up by a family friend. Lang leaked it anonymously to the press, framing it as the CEO's reckless affair with a fraud. Headlines screamed across El País and the New York Times, Reyes Global's hidden scandal, love or liability. The stock plummeted, board members demanded Harmony's resignation, and whispers turned to outright mutiny. Harmony exploded in a closed-door meeting, slamming her fist on the table, veins thrumming with alpha rage. This is sabotage. Kira had nothing to do with it. She was 22, a kid chasing dreams. But doubt festered. Late that night, alone in her office, she scrolled through the articles, each word a dagger. Had Kira hidden this? Was their love built on omission? The betrayal, Elena's fresh in her mind, amplified the paranoia, twisting her protectiveness into possession. She drove to Kira's studio in the pouring rain, tires hydroplaning on slick streets, arriving soaked and seething. Kira opened the door mid-stroke, paintbrush in hand, her smock splattered with cerulean and crimson, a half-finished portrait of Harmony on the easel, fierce and tender. Harm. It's after midnight, what's wrong? But Harmony's eyes, shadowed by exhaustion, fixed on her with predatory intensity. Did you know about the leak, the story they dug up? Or were you waiting for me to find out the hard way, like Elena? Kira's face drained of color, the brush clattering to the floor. What are you talking about? I told you everything that night in Siges, remember? It was a mistake, yes, but I owned it. I thought you trusted me. She reached out, but Harmony recoiled, the alpha in her snarling at the perceived threat. Trust? In this city of thieves and shadows. Everyone takes, Kira. Even you, with your pretty lies and your art that hides the truth. The words hung like smoke, choking the air between them. Kira's eyes, those deep pools Harmony had drowned in, hardened with hurt. Lies? I've given you my soul, Harmony, every sketch, every whisper. If you can't see that, maybe La Jefa Fria was right all along. Maybe you're too broken to let anyone in. She turned away, shoulders trembling, but not before Harmony glimpsed the tear tracing her cheek. The sight pierced deeper than any boardroom blade. The alpha recoiled in horror at what her instincts had wrought, not protection, but destruction. Harmony stormed out into the deluge, the rain a merciless lash against her skin, driving aimlessly through Barcelona's veins, the neon haze of Izample, the ghostly arches of Park Güell under lightning flashes. Her phone buzzed incessantly, Lang's smug voicemail, tick-tock, Reyes. Resign, or watch it all burn. But it was Kira's silence that gutted her, a void where their shared dreams had been. Pulling over on a deserted stretch of the Ronda de Dalt, Harmony gripped the wheel until her knuckles whitened, sobs racking her frame for the first time since her mother's funeral a decade ago. The cold-blooded CEO, unraveling in the dark. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, finding Harmony in her office, nursing black coffee and a migraine. The board convened at 9 a.m. sharp, a cabal of suits in the conference room overlooking the Sagrada Familia spires. Ironic, she thought, a monument to unfinished faith. Lang's proxy, a weaselly lawyer named Tomas, laid out the ultimatum: step down, or face a vote of no confidence. Your personal life has compromised the company, he droned, sliding glossy dossiers across the table, Kira's face pixelated in scandalous grain. Murmurs rippled, even loyalists shifted uncomfortably. Harmony's blood boiled, the alpha surging like a bull in the ring. She rose slowly, her voice a silken blade. Compromised. I've tripled our valuation in 5 years while you golfed in Marbella. This isn't about numbers, it's about control. Lang wants my throne because he can't earn his own. She locked eyes with each member, channeling the ferocity she'd once reserved for hostile bids. Kira Voss isn't a scandal, she's the reason I fight harder. Fire me if you dare, but know this, I'll burn this empire to ash before I let vultures like Lang pick the bones. The room fell silent, the weight of her words a thunderclap. Tomas blanched, but before he could retort, her CFO, a grizzled Catalan named Jordi, nodded. She's right. We've weathered worse. All in favor of standing firm. Hands rose, tentative at first, then resolute. The vote swung, Lang's bid crumbled like dry tortilla. Harmony exhaled, victory tasting bittersweet on her tongue. But as the executives filed out, clapping her shoulder, she felt hollow, the win Pyrrhic without Kira to share it. She drove to the studio that afternoon, the sun piercing clouds like a hesitant truce. The door was ajar, canvases stacked haphazardly, the air thick with the ghost of linseed oil. Kira sat cross-legged on the floor amid sketches of their life, hands intertwined at a fiesta, Harmony's silhouette against the sea, a heart cracked like the Alhambra's tiles. "I didn't come to fight," Harmony said softly, kneeling beside her, the alpha humbled into supplication. "I came to apologize. My instincts, they turned me into the monster I feared. I pushed you away to protect us, but I only hurt you more." Kira looked up, eyes red-rimmed but fierce. "You think it's that simple? You accused me, Harmony, like I was Elena, like I was Lang. I poured everything into us, and you saw shadows where there was light." Her voice wavered, but she didn't pull away when Harmony took her hand, tracing the paint flecks on her knuckles. "I was scared," Harmony admitted, the words foreign on her lips. "Of losing you, of what loving you makes me feel, alive, but exposed. Like the alpha in me isn't a weapon anymore, it's a bridge." They talked until twilight bled into the room, unraveling the knots of doubt. Kira confessed her own fears, the expat's loneliness, the artist's terror of fading into obscurity, how Harmony's world had both thrilled and terrified her. "I thought I could thaw you," she whispered, "but maybe we thaw each other." Harmony pulled her close, their foreheads touching, breaths mingling in the sacred space of forgiveness. That night, they made love not with urgency, but with reverence, slow explorations under the studio's skylight, stars winking approval, bodies speaking what words couldn't. The high came crashing in the weeks that followed. Reyes Global stabilized, Lang retreating to London with his tail between his legs, but the scandal's aftershocks rippled outward. Paparazzi hounded Kira's gallery openings, vandals tagging her door with slurs that twisted their love into something sordid. Harmony hired security, her alpha side roaring to shield, but Kira chafed at the cages. "I didn't come to Spain to hide, Harm. This is us, messy, beautiful, unapologetic." Tension simmered, old wounds reopening under the strain. The climax erupted on a balmy August evening at the annual La Merce Festival, Barcelona's streets alive with fireworks and Castellar's human towers teetering toward the sky. Harmony had surprised Kira with rings, simple platinum bands etched with olive branches, a promise whispered in the quiet of their shared apartment overlooking the port. "Marry me," she'd said earlier that day, kneeling in the kitchen amid breakfast chaos, her voice steady despite the quake in her chest. Kira's yes had been a sob of joy, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of fresh churros and forever. But as they wove through the throng in placa rail, palms arching overhead like cathedral vaults, disaster struck. A figure emerged from the shadows, Victor Lang himself, in town for a friendly follow-up, his face flushed with wine and malice. He'd cornered a tabloid stringer, slipping him a doctored photo, Kira in an embrace with an ex from Brooklyn years ago, timestamp fudged to postdate their meeting. It hit the wires mid-festival, Rhea's fiancé's secret lover, the betrayal deepens. Phones buzzed, strangers pointed, whispers snaking through the crowd like venom. Kira froze, the ring heavy on her finger, her world tilting. This isn't real, it's him, it's all him. But Harmony, alpha instincts igniting into blind fury, saw red. She whirled on Lang, who lounged against a fountain with feigned innocence. "You son of a bitch. This ends now." Her fist connected before reason could intervene, a glancing blow to his jaw, not enough to break bone, but enough to draw blood and a chorus of gasps. Lang staggered, clutching his face, his eyes gleaming with triumph. "Assault? On foreign soil? You've just handed me the company on a silver platter, Reyes." Sirens wailed in the distance as the crowd surged, separating them. Kira grabbed Harmony's arm, pulling her into an alley slick with festival confetti. "What did you do? You could have ruined everything." Rain began to fall, unseasonal and sudden, turning the stones treacherous. Harmony, adrenaline crashing, sank against the wall, the alpha deflated into despair. "I couldn't let him touch you. Not again. But I reacted. Like the cold monster everyone sees." Kira's face crumpled, rain mingling with tears. That's just it, you're not a monster. You're human, flawed, fierce, mine. But this? She held up her phone, the photo glaring. It looks bad. And if you go down swinging, we both drown. The betrayal, Lang's, but now laced with Harmony's impulsiveness, hung between them, a chasm widening with each thunderclap. Kira stepped back, her bohemian skirt sodden, eyes searching Harmony's for the woman she'd fallen for. I need space. To think. Don't follow me. She vanished into the storm, leaving Harmony alone with the echoes of fireworks, beautiful bursts fading to smoke. The CEO trudged home through flooded streets, the ring box burning in her pocket like a curse. Days blurred into a haze of legal briefs and isolation. Lang pressed charges, assault and defamation, a dual-pronged attack designed to bleed Reyes Global dry. Harmony's lawyers circled wagons, but the board wavered again, emergency sessions debating her fate. She holed up in the penthouse, staring at the sea's indifferent churn, the alpha in her pacing like a caged wolf. Kira's silence was the cruelest cut. No calls, no sketches slipped under the door, just an empty canvas on her phone's unanswered texts. I love you. Come back. In the void, Harmony confronted her ghosts. She flew to Valencia, to the orange groves of her youth, wandering rose heavy with fruit under a merciless sun. There, amid the scent of blossoms and earth, she sat with her abuelita's memory, the woman who taught her strength wasn't in control, but in surrender. El corazón no es conquista, mija, her grandmother's voice echoed in the rustle of leaves. Se entrega. The heart isn't conquered, it's given. Tears came unbidden, watering the soil, as Harmony realized her alpha instincts had been warped by fear, protecting at all costs, even if it meant losing the one worth saving. Back in Barcelona, she faced the board not with fire, but with quiet resolve. I've made mistakes, she admitted, standing at the head of the table, Kira's ring glinting on her thumb like a talisman. Lashing out at Lang was one. But loving Kira. That's the best decision I've ever made. She reminds me why we build, not for empires, but for lives that matter. She laid out a counter-strategy, divestitures to shore up defenses, a public pivot to ethical AI that highlighted Kira's influence on her vision for inclusive tech. Jordi nodded first, then others, the tide turning on her vulnerability. Lead on, then, he said. But bring her back. Lang's case crumbled under scrutiny, the photo exposed as a fake via metadata sleuthing, his assault claim dismissed as mutual scuffle amid festival chaos. But victory rang empty without reconciliation. Harmony sought Kira at the gallery, finding it shuttered, a closed for reflection sign swaying in the breeze. A neighbor, an elderly potter named Rosa, took pity. She went to the coast, chica. To think, like her grandmother before her. Said something about waves washing away the lies. Harmony rented a battered Fiat, driving the winding Corniche road to Cadax, where Dolly had dreamed his surrealists. The village clung to cliffs like a lover's grasp, whitewashed houses baking under the sun. She found Kira on a pebble beach at dawn, barefoot in a linen shift, sketching the horizon where sea met sky. Waves lapped at her feet, carrying whispers of salt and secrets. I knew you'd come, Kira said without turning, her voice soft as sea glass. The alpha always tracks her mate. Harmony approached slowly, sand shifting under her boots, heart hammering. I came to say I'm sorry, not just for the fight, but for everything. For letting control turn me cold, for doubting you when you deserved faith. My instincts. They blinded me. But losing you showed me the truth, you're not my weakness. You're my why. She knelt, offering the ring again, rain from that fateful night a distant memory under the sun's forgiveness. Marry me, Kira. Not the CEO, not La Jefa. Just me, flawed, fierce, yours. Kira turned, curls windswept, eyes tracing Harmony's face like a familiar map. Hurt lingered, but so did love, deep as the Mediterranean. I was scared too, she confessed, setting her sketchbook aside. Of your world swallowing mine, of being the footnote in your legend. But walking away, it broke me. Because you're my canvas, harm, the colors I never knew I needed. She slipped the ring on, pulling Harmony into the surf, waves crashing around their ankles as they kissed, salt-tinged, soul-deep, a vow etched in foam. They returned to Barcelona changed, their love a quiet revolution. Harmony stepped back from the CEO role, mentoring a successor while launching a foundation for queer artists. Kira at its helm, exhibits blending tech and canvas, stories of hidden hearts in the city of light. The penthouse became a home, walls lined with Kira's portraits, Harmony laughing in the groves, the alpha tamed by tenderness. One evening, as fireworks lit the sky for another La Merce, they stood on their balcony, arms entwined, the sea a silver promise below. You revealed my heart, Harmony murmured, nuzzling Kira's neck. And I yours. In the end, it wasn't conquest or control that endured, but grace, the human warmth that thaws even the coldest empires. Barcelona, with its ancient stones and endless skies, bore witness to their story, two women, woven from fire and wave, proving that love, in all its dramatic fury, is the ultimate power.